Hello, welcome back to my channel, Lotusthesage. I'm Lotus. Today we're going to go into a numerology series, and we're going to do it based on your life path number. So if you already know your life path number, this first part that I'll be uploading is from life path 1 to 4, if I'm not mistaken. And the next set will be 5 to 8, and the following set will be 9 to 22 technically. So 9, 10, 11, and 22 will be the last one. So if you don't know how to calculate your life path number, it's your month of birth, your date of birth, and your year of birth, and then you reduce it down to a single digit. I'll just give you an example just in case. Let's say you're born January 1st, so that's January 12th, let's say. Month is January, the date is the 12th. Let's say 1980. Yeah, so it's the first month with the 12th day, so I'm just going to add it. So I do 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 and plus 0. So it would be 1, 2, 4, 5, 14, 22. So technically this would be a master number 22. Let's say if I was born 1981, it would be a 23. I'd reduce it down to 2 plus 3, which would equal a 5. And that life path number would be life path number 5. I hope that makes sense. And we'll have some fun on this numerology tarot reading. The goal is for us to find how to master that life path number. Reason why we have this in this particular incarnation of our human existence, etc. And we will look into the positive and the shadow sides of each life path number. Anyways, hope you enjoy. Please give me your feedback, subscribe, like, do all of those things. I'm sending you so much love, and thank you again for participating. See you on the path. Welcome, my life path number ones. I'm going to leave your number here for now so we can remember who we are. So on this side over here, we're going to do a spread exactly similar to the one on the right, but this one is going to be how to use the strengths of being a life path number 1. And this side over here is going to be if and when, because we are human, we fall into the manipulation or the shadow side of our strengths, how will that play out and what's the purpose of us being in that archetype? All right, so let's get into laying out your cards first. We're going to start off, we'll just lay out your cards first. Okay, my beauties of life path number 1. I'm going to read you some of my notes that I've taken down for life path number 1, and then we will get into your spread. Life path number 1. You are born leader. You insist on your right to make up your own mind, and you demand freedom of thought and action. You have drive and determination, and you don't let anything stand in your way once you are committed to your goal. You assume your responsibility to be the protector and provider for those you love. You demand respect and attention, and you become irritated and even domineering when important things don't go your way. You resist supportive roles. You seek the foreground and the limelight. You are exceptionally creative and original, and you possess a touch of unusual. Your approach to problems is unique. You have the courage to wander from the beaten path. You can be impatient with your shortcomings and those of others, very concerned with status, and you foster the appearance of success and self-satisfaction. The need to appear well off propels you to strive for growth, success, and the finer things in life. Watch out for selfishness, conceit, and an over-concern with appearances. Guard against overzealous behavior, anger, and aggressiveness. If these qualities are not brought under control, you could become excessively domineering, vindictive, and even violent. Be your own boss, own your own business, hold fast to your life's dreams, and work with the determination you possess to realize it. You can get overly stressed by your driven nature. Be careful about the food you eat and maintain an exercise program you enjoy. Competitive sports are often healthy outlet for a person of life path number 1. Don't let pride and confidence be your masters. Gratitude and humility rather than pride and conceit. So my beautiful Pal 1, that is pretty much the breakdown of what your characteristics are like for a life path number 1. Let's see how to use these strengths. Beautiful. The unseen. I'm getting Spirit saying that there are certain things that you see that others don't see, and there are certain things about yourself that you don't see about yourself. There are things still to be revealed and to be discovered and to be embodied and embraced within your archetype of your life path number 1. It's about seeing oneself very clearly, knowing where your, personality pitfalls lay, and how those triggers are activated. I'm also getting a sense of a visionary type of vibe. So, like they said, allow yourself to continue with your determination to realize your goals and your potential. You know, the way that you approach things are creative and allowing yourself to wander off the beaten path. This is what you are. That's how to use it in things that are not normal or unordinary. Yeah, Spirit is just saying again, just to keep looking into your soul, that you are always finding the reflection back out. Everyone you encounter, they're saying everyone you encounter is one of these pixelated dots in this picture. So many fractals, so many versions, so many ways of being seen, of predicting something, of going about things. So allow for some openness and some space for different ways of doing things also other than your own, because you like to be in charge, like to be in the lead. So there might be things that are being offered to you also that you're not seeing because you are so determined to get to your goal. Okay, so let's see what the purpose is of you being this life path number 1 in this incarnation. Beautiful water element, reflection, yep, kindness and compassion. That's exactly what I was feeling about that, the seeing, right? Your purpose is for that reflection back. How other people see things and how you see things, to merge it, to find that symbiosis within each other's differences. Yeah, Spirit wants you to allow yourself to continue to move with the flow, to continue to move with the ebb and flows of other people's energetic responses to your ideas, to your way of being, to your thoughts, to the way you speak, to your body language, how you communicate. Said that already? Okay. With Nephilims, controversial, assessing, new perspectives, exactly. Yeah, it's like, I really do feel like there's a sense of merging your uniqueness with everybody else's, or with maybe like with the mundane or the normal in some way. Your controversial ideas, the way you see things, assessing, and there's much to be gained from your perspective, do not get me wrong. But they don't want you to get too stuck in the conceit and the arrogance or aggressiveness of the life path number 1 when we haven't mastered our life path yet. So this is just a reminder to keep in this reflectiveness, in the kindness and the compassion within your controversial ideas as you assess how to move your new perspectives into reality, into form. Okay, let's get some reasons, the lessons that need to be integrated, the lessons that need to be integrated with this playing out in your life. We have the Buddha prepares, number 13 in reverse. We have initiation and the Count Saint Germain, number 14. We have Paths Unknown, 8 of Scrolls, which is technically the 8 of Swords, or the equivalent of. And 2 of Keys, the Treasure, in reverse. I'm hearing that the reason behind the way the lessons are playing out for you is, meaning like there might be some resistance or pushback in your regular life based on how you think, how you live your life, how you dress, how you look at things, how you speak, whatever the case is. You might be that misfit, that oddball, my favorite kind of people. Regardless, the point is that you have value here is the main thing. There is value to what you have to offer and your perspective, but you need to allow yourself to soften sometimes when it comes to how you deliver your messages or your insights. As Buddha prepares in the reverse, it is asking you to take some more time because you're rushing into something, or too aggressive with your belief. So Saint Germain is asking you to calm, and it's initiating you into this way of being more stably, more permanently, so to speak, more with longevity, and that's leading you to the paths unknown, because again, it's the stuff that is unseen, yet to be discovered, knowing that it's there, but it's still not here, so to speak. So you have that opportunity to not preconceive the idea of what you're going to find. That's what I'm getting with this treasure in reverse. It's like whatever you thought was it, meaning like even in your perspective, there's still something else to be gained from everybody else around you that you might be missing, that you might not be seeing. You might not be stepping onto another path that's unknown that will lead you to a different and more fulfilling type of treasure if you continue to stay, or if you are too stuck in the ways of your own perspectives, your own beliefs, your own dogmas or ideas or ways of thinking, ways of being. They're asking you to open up a little bit more, to not be so judgmental is what I heard. There is much to be gained on this new path, on this new discovery of the self. The path is towards mastering your life path number. Okay, let's get some extra meat about this. We have the Star, guaranteed success if you prepare. Financial pinch, initiation and the Count Saint Germain. So what I get for financial pinch when it comes out in readings like this, it's like something in your tangible world, in your 3D reality, is pinching you or reminding you of something that's not quite right, or that can be shaken up or altered in some way if we are not paying attention to the signs, to the lessons that we are being told, to the things that we are seeing or unseeing but feeling. Broken bridge, unsuccessful outcome to a problem. Paths unknown. Again, if you choose not to go on to this paths unknown, is what I feel like. If you choose to stay stuck in your way of being, which is very much that one life path number of being very rigid, stern, but confident and unique and all of that stuff, but you can get stuck in those moments. So don't get too stuck in your ways. Allow for the other. Allow for the other. And it says, take care or there will be loss of material wealth. Again, financial pinch. This is what I'm saying. I feel like the opportunity may be unsuccessful if you choose to go about it in the same way you've been approaching things from your past. Because it's like a contradiction. Like, success is guaranteed if you meditate, but if you don't, financial pinch, unsuccessful outcome to a problem, take care, there will be loss of material wealth. It's like things will fall away from you. Maybe you won't have feel like you have a good enough support system, because there's a lot of like water element things here. The water element, the lobster, the shark. You know, so there's this feeling of what you may not be seeing is the benefit of others around you. Maybe you've been too solitary for too long too. Maybe you need to collect and gather with a group of people. Again, initiate yourself into a new group, into a new mindset, into a new belief system. Because the Spirit wants you to succeed. They want you to, but you have to flip this. You need to prepare for this journey. Okay, something you should embrace. The sage. The wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding, the perspective, the spiritual reboot, the insight from spirit, from source, from the elements, from your ancestors, from your own intuition. Embrace the sage within you. Something to release. Yep, release the love, meaning release more love out. That's what it feels like. It feels like, no disrespect, my pal wine, that you might be a little stush. Stush means like, it's like a standoffish and rude-ish, but it's sort of like, it can be sort of looked at as elitism or snobbery. You know, it can be that. And if that's how some of it is being perceived, I don't think it's entirely that, but there can be that. There is an element of that here. So Spirit is asking you to show and share more love, reflection, kindness, compassion, so that your perspectives and ideas can be fully received, because you're receiving them fully. If you are judging them, then there's a resistance and a pullback there. Okay, let us see for this side things to keep in mind. It's probably going to add to this love card over here. Ella Fitzgerald. You are your own best teacher. Nothing is more hard-won than innocence. Intuition beats experience. Boom. There you go. And that's maybe where it is. Maybe you are using your intellect and your intelligence, your study, your academic prowess to sort of dominate certain things that sometimes need to be felt more than thought about. And so Spirit is saying you are your own best teacher, and therefore Spirit is going to give you all these personalities, like I said, these fractals of you, you know, to teach you. And nothing is more hard-won than innocence. The innocence of being open to all, to new, to love. You know, intuition beats experience, and this is it. Let your intuition be your guide. Let the unseen guide you. Try not to control everything. Lead and push from love instead of from status right now. Master your life path number 1. Okay. Let's go into the shadow side. Okay, so when and if you fall into the manipulation of the shadow, Thanos, the web, caught in your own traps, caught in your own thoughts. Ooh, confusion as to what went wrong. But ultimately it's a transformation, right? Thanos' death. So it's the rebirth. It's like almost a process that you might need to go through if this is what you end up, if and when you end up coming into these energies, if you haven't already. It's a death of the ego is what I'm hearing. It's a dark night of the soul. It's a transformation. It's a rebirth. Yeah, it's about releasing the control. That's what Thanos is about in every form. So it leaves a mark on you. This lesson, this transformation. And it's symbolizing that you've touched, you know, the underworld, the depths, the darkest part, and you will emerge again. That phoenix rising from the ashes of the death of this ego. And once you face the death of yourself, the death of your ego, you can face anything. You will understand why this was unable to move in the way that you were wanting, because you were forcing it in some sense, possibly. If this is, you know, a part of your reality. And if this is where you are at or what you might end up going into, just be mindful of this will always still ultimately be helpful for you. The death of the ego. It's not an easy lesson. Okay, let's see the purpose. We already kind of know. Yeah, Kabbalah, tree of life, integration, life lessons, emanation, exactly. Lighting the path to lighting the areas in which, like we talked about in the beginning, in the channeling, is where the triggers lay and how it gets lit or how it gets sparked. It's learning and integrating all these past lessons, past moments, past altercations, interactions, incomplete projects, relationships, etc. It brings you into this death phase of this Thanos, of this rebirth, to integrate these lessons, to emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Literally Bob Marley for sure. Beautiful. And then we have the manatees. Mantis being, enigma, elusive, and sensitive. Yeah, the whole experience will be an enigma for you. I really do feel that. Like this elusiveness within what you knew before. It's like you'll be floating in the void for a while. Very sensitive to your own intuition now. It will bring you in tune more receptively to this emotional water element. Fully in tune with rooting and grounding in your own being the lessons that have been taught to you and why you had to go through that death for this rebirth. They said for you to ultimately own who you are, not be controlled by the thoughts and whims of others or of another. Okay, let's see what lessons need to be integrated. Queen of Scrolls. The Oracle of Delphi in reverse. Three of Keys, the chess game. And One of Scrolls on track. So very fitting with what came up here. Again, being in that shadow being in that shadow element, or the manipulation of your strengths. It's talking about you need to be way more clear and factual with yourself. You need to cut out the bullshit is what I heard. Truthfully look at yourself and hear yourself. You have so much to offer. Do not doubt yourself. Stop not listening, they said. That's what they keep bringing up. You're not listening to the spiritual guidance that they're sending you. Or you might be afraid or ignoring it, but they're telling me you're not listening. They're bringing me back to the spider's web and the vibration of how soft a fly can land on it. No matter where that spider is, they feel that vibration and that ripple effect. So keep your thoughts positive. Listen for the vibrations. Feel. Connect back into self, which is Buddha prepares. Because this chess game, you're not seeing the pieces now. You're not seeing the board. You're off track of that. That's why you would be in this energy, right? Because you are not listening. And you might be too cutthroat with certain things. Like, again, it's about the speech, your thoughts, your ideas, the way of being. It's really about that. So that lesson needs to be integrated of you need to listen. That's why you're being brought to the depths, because you're being initiated into the underworld. That's what would happen. That does happen. I've been there, so allow yourself to be quiet and hear the plays. You're giving me a clock ticking. They're showing me a timer on those chess games, that 1 minute timer, however long it is. They just said the time is coming for you to step back on this train and move in the right direction when it comes to your energetic evolution. Okay, what needs to be embraced? The pillar. Yeah, the stabilizing in this belief, in this knowing, in your strengths, in your gifts, in your intuition, trusting in spirit, paying attention to what they've been sending you. push this down a little bit. Okay, let's get some more meat. September. So this may have happened in this past September or the September that's coming up. It could have happened in any September of your life. It could have happened during school, they're giving me, because usually school starts in September. That's why they said that. It can be in the fall, but there's something about the beginning of when this may happen, or when this did happen, or when this could happen. Or when this will happen, excuse me. Okay, on the Oracle of Delphi. Chair filled, some news is entering your life. Yeah, listen for the news. That's what Spirit's been saying. We are this pillar for you, right? So listen for this news. Broom, new home, new attitude. Chess game, right? It is all about the chess game. You need to have a new home in yourself, a new attitude about how you have been living, thinking, moving. Ring, a marriage will take place, either romantic or business. There we go. Like they said, you're ready to head back onto that train, right? Get on that track, on the right track. So once you allow this full integration of the lessons, allowing it to emancipate yourself from, like we said, thanks Bob, from mental slavery, the elusiveness of this void will be understood, your sensitivities will be grasped, you will have stability and strength within yourself and in your gifts, no longer needing to be in those reactive or needing to be right, needing to prove somebody wrong, or to feel like the smartest person in the room. Release the control. Okay, something you must release, speaking of. I just heard not sharing your wisdom. Yeah, share your wisdom. Share what you've learned. Again, coming back to this love again, right? It's all this thing again for you, my Pal 1. It's almost like, my Pal 1, my Life Path 1. It's almost like they're, when I was talking about mastering your own life path, it's like you prepping to get to the next life path, technically in chronological order would be 2, right? Which is about that merger and that partnership and that unions of people, which is love. So they want you to share this wisdom. Share the wisdom that you've also gained through this experience of going to the shadow, of being in the depths, of initiating yourself into the underworld, of finding the strengths of both the light and the dark. Okay, final card. Things to keep in mind. Nice. Billie Holiday. If you're going to play with your whole soul. That is right. You have no understudy. Sometimes losing beats winning. Look at that. So again, allowing yourself to surrender, losing in the sense of being brought to the underworld, to lose yourself, to lose your ego, right? And if you're going to play, go play with your whole soul. And you can't do that without going to the shadow. It's perfect. You have no understudy for your life. There's no person who can come on and you can call out for the day, So sometimes losing beats winning. And this losing of the self is what you win is better, a better connection of the self, a better understanding of the soul, a better teacher in oneself, more love able to be shared, to be a pillar of your own community, of your own standing. That marriage within self, with another, with business. So that was beautiful, my Pal 1. So keep this in mind. It's about sharing wisdom and love. Intuition beats experience, and sometimes losing beats winning. Play with your whole soul. You are your best teacher. Nothing is more hard-earned and hard-won than innocence. So stay in that essence, my beautiful life path number 1s. I hope this was lovely, and I hope this was helpful and interesting for you. Sorry I couldn't fit them all on the table, but please give me your feedback. Let me know what you thought. It'd be really helpful. I'm sending you so much love, and I hope I get the chance to read from you again. Waiting for the next part of this series. Until next time, ciao. Welcome, my life path number 2. We have 2 piles here, roughly the same spread, just different sides of the same coin. The first side over here is going to be how to use your strengths and a spread according to that. And this side over here is going to be, when and if, because we are human, we are programmed to flaw. How if we use or manipulate our strengths in a way that's not as compassionate, how that will play out, and the reasons for why we need to be in that energy for the lesson. Awesome. Okay, so let's lay out your cards. I'm going to lay this out first. I'm going to do it differently than I did for Life Path 1 because it felt a little crowded, so I'm going to try a different spread out this way, or layout, I should say. Okay, my life path number 2. I'm going to read you a couple of my notes that I took down for your life path so we can get a little bit more into your personality type, possibly. Life path number 2. Your nature is the peacemaker. You're extremely sensitive, perceptive, a bit shy. These qualities are both your strengths and your weaknesses. For while you possess enormous sensitivity in your feelings and those of others, that same sensitivity can cause you to hold back and repress your considerable talents. Sensitivity and perceptiveness are among your many fine qualities. You're intuitive, extremely diplomatic and tactful, patient and cooperative, work well with groups, and you somehow find a way to create harmony amongst diverse opinions. You enjoy music, poetry, require a harmonious environment, you have great healing capabilities, have an eye for beauty, a fine sense of balance and rhythm. Your extremely delicate ego, though, can bruise easily, and you can make too much of someone else's thoughts, remarks, or criticisms. You're easily hurt, and you may tend to withhold your thoughts and contributions to the matter at hand. Too often you run from confrontation to avoid a battle. You have enormous power and abilities to direct difficult situations towards your own goals. It is the awareness of your inner strength that will give you the courage to use your power, your personal power, when it's needed. Your perceptiveness makes you aware of your partner's needs and desires. When you feel you have been mistreated or jilted, you can react with devastating power, sometimes using personal criticisms vindictively. In truth, you are often the power behind the throne. You often do not receive the credit you deserve for the fine work you've done. You need to confront those who make less of your contributions and stand up for your accomplishments. You are a perfectionist when it comes to your home and work environments, and you have excellent taste, a good sense of humor. You're a safe haven for sensitive people who recognize your compassion and understanding, and you have all the talents and intelligence for great success. So my life path number 2, let's see how to use these strengths that you have. The Judge. Talk about being diplomatic, organized, resourceful, being able to unify opposing opinions, being a great judge of character. Again, sound advice with compassion and love. That's what Spirit wants you to remember. To be this beautiful judge of character with yourself too. To allow for you to be seen, to be spoken up, to be heard, to not diminish your weight in certain aspects, to see your worth, and to see what you have to offer. It's also saying to make sure that we stay in that essence of balance, of being just with self and with others. Again, that is how to use the strength of yours as life path number 2. Okay, let's see the purpose. Why? Earth element, survival, adaptable, reliable. I wanted to say relatable and reliable at the same time. Purpose being your understanding of what would work for society to harmonize, to have longevity, to continue our own evolution. for the adaptability of understanding both sides. Again, knowing how to, so easily as you do, to bring in opposing energies into harmony, to be reliable with the self, with others, accountable, keeping your word, being relatable, so that we can again find common ground. And the flower of life, inspiration, awe, and dreams, right? To bring in the inspiration of what each individual would want, and trying to find a way that both can create within the same sphere of energy, to bring in this awe of life, the dreams, into reality. Again, practically grounding in dreams also. Yeah, knowing how to organize, critically think, and be diplomatic. It's a great, again, that this is perfectly, they said, it's often the power behind the throne. That is what it is. That is who you are, not what it is. That is who you are. In whatever sense of throne that is, the power behind your throne, the power behind the people around you, your great support system, and you know how to really pick the right energies to help move the goal or the intention forward in the best possible outcome with everybody considered. Okay, let's see what these lessons are that you need to integrate with this. The Muse. Views of the Ego. King of Scrolls in reverse. Six of Keys in Crescent Moon in reverse. I'm getting Spirit is wanting you to integrate, or it's reminding you to the benefit of having muses outside of yourself, meaning like that you're not only relying on, because sometimes it's needed, don't get me wrong, but you're not only relying on your own source of knowledge and resource or information and wisdom, that you're taking into account everybody's perspective, which is what we talked about, which is what you're doing, I feel. But this is the purpose, right? What we need to really get integrated. So they're asking you to check the ego in moments where you are not standing in clarity and in truth, where it's coming out of a sort of a dictatorial, authoritarian, totalitarian type of energy. When it comes to, my word is law, just as that, there's a saying that, I guess it might be a Caribbean thing, but I hated it. I hated it, it's like, do what I say, not what I do. And that was a hard lesson for me to try and grasp. It's like, if you can't live by what you're talking and telling me to live my life by, you can't. That example was so hard for me to grasp as a child. Like, I know I fought with that for a long time. I hated it. And of course, until later you understand, where you forget as a child that the parent is a human in some regard. They're just this omnipresent kind of being to you, and you try to please and all of this for so long, and then you realize, but if you're faltering and I've been trying to be perfect, that's such a hard weight to carry, because that doesn't exist. Perfect doesn't exist. Consistency exists, I believe in that, but not perfection, because everything is already perfect as it is. So what's perfect? Is your perfect different than my perfect? Probably. So what's perfect? You get me? So it's just, there's a thing about that I'm getting here, is about this muse being too much of taking in your own information in times. That can be a problem, that you don't see or check your ego, and you come from a place of, as we just talked about, that can lead you into this, I suppose it's like a delusional state of manifestation, like a false sense of power. That's really what it is. It's like power over, it's like they're creating, I know they keep bringing me to like my family dynamics, which is very weird. They keep bringing me to this sense of power through fear. Just like what's happening in society, in my opinion, power through fear. And that's fear of what you can do, the weight of your expertise or your placement or your profession or your words even, that can really be detrimental into your future awareness of self. So that lesson needs to be truly integrated, is how to really, really, truly be the greatest judge of character within oneself, to be just with oneself before we try to assert our own judgment on something or someone else. And they're saying, even if you know or feel that your way is a better way to come to this harmonic place that you're really ultimately seeking, there is something about the approach and the way that you're thinking about it that's too rigid. It needs some fluidity. Because it's like Pentacles, fire, earth. Okay, let's get some more meat to the reading. Firecracker on the muse. Yeah, too much. Okay, let's see. So I'd keep going first. Heart, love, deep affection, and caring. Yeah, views of the ego. It's like that you. It's like you have to come back into this heart and sort of subdue for the time being the excitement of what your ideas are, which is, again, let's say, for lack of a better example, like this utopian type of era or society and way of living, which is amazing. And of course, we all want to get there. But sometimes, again, this is how we get too rigid in getting there, is that we lose sight of the sensitivity and the affection, the caring around us when we go too tunnel vision towards a goal. So Spirit's asking you to open up the heart when it comes to the views of your own ego. And still keep the excitement of what you want, don't get me wrong. It's just that we have to manipulate the energy in a more productive manner for more involved in the way and in what you want to create. Yep, money will be coming to you soon. And that's, again, stepping into this heart energy, again, the practicality of what you want. This is how I'm using this in these money cards or any extra super love cards. That's how that's translating for me, just so you know. It can obviously be money coming into you as you continue to do this endeavor, but you know, it's sort of established once you follow your heart. Like, things just sort of fall into place, in my opinion. So money coming into you is that, again, this tangible, real opportunity to get this thing going, to get this movement rolling, for the excitement of the project to come to a full fruition with multiple people involved to create the best outcome. You know, deep love and affection, caring for what you are doing, which is a compassion of all, the compassion of self. And then August might be a very significant month. Could be the time of season, could be birthdays, could be a name. It could be the full moon in August, or the crescent moon, in August. That something happened, something will happen, or there's a significant movement or change within your life right now, or within your life at that time. Okay, so let's see what needs to be embraced. Get wild in reverse. Get wild, it came out in reverse. So, again, I think I was right on the money when they were talking about tempering your excitement, right? About the wild ideas that you have for this utopian type of society. This is just the example, right? About this, what you're wanting to create. So it's like we just need to find a way to funnel your excitement and the wild within you in a more cohesive, more harmonious way, which is your strength, life path number 2. It's what you do. It's how you know how to do this. So don't allow yourself to lose sight of your actual strengths. What you should release? Withdraw in reverse. Yeah, don't hold back. Don't withdraw yourself from the energy because you might be misunderstood in some moments, and or releasing your need to not want to withdraw your opinion that becomes too rigid. It all depends on how your situation is playing out for you. I'm getting they're leaning me more towards the releasing your releasing your want to not withdraw when something feels like it's not working out. They're giving me the example of like sticking it out even though you know it's crumbling. And certain things need to crumble to be rebuilt better, stronger. And they're saying that you might be holding on to certain things that need to be let go, need to be replanted, in other words. Again, this earth element, they just bring me to the flower. It's like replanting for a new and better, sweeter, more encompassing flower. Lovely. Okay, let's see something to keep in mind or to think about, which will probably connect to this card over here. We have Diana Ross. Make sure they never see the last of you. Yep. Okay. If a job's worth doing, it's worth doing in a ball gown. Nice. And you can be better. You can be a better you than anyone else. So 100% they are bringing me back to your want to not withdraw. And then they're bringing me to the first line, make sure that they never see the last of you. It's sort of like you want the last word. Again, this is possible areas of your character, not you on an everyday basis, of course. You know? So just allow yourself to, again, try to withdraw sometimes. And then it's funny, they said, if a job's worth doing, it's worth doing in a ball gown. And I was thinking about a judge's gown, technically their robes. You know, and it's like being of this sort of elitist or posh sort of expression can be misleading when you're going towards a goal of harmony. And then you can be a better you than anyone else can. And it's sort of just like a reminder that you are the one who can change your perspective and the way things are brought out and unfold if you allow yourself to really, again, be the most just with yourself. Be clear, be honest, be transparent. Okay, beautiful. So now we're going to go into if you were to use it in your strengths in a shadow side, how will that play out? So for life path number 1, I put them both beside each other, but I'm going to overlap them and see if it works out better this way. So if you manipulate, we have the mask. How fitting is that? I'm hearing that you'll be living a double life. You won't be able to see the truth as clearly as you could, because the goal is to master your life path number. It also would create and will create a sense of paranoia and fear about who you actually are, again, not allowing you to evolve into your full self-actualization. Also, it would allow you to see yourself in different lights and different facets, to see a perspective of you that may need some more attention and love and care. Can invite you into different atmospheres and worlds of people that you previously may have judged, therefore forcing you into a scenario that you actually would have possibly, they're giving me the word despised prior. And it's also within what we were talking about, reminding you of how we may have been, or how you may have been, stuck in one particular persona for too long. It's going to allow yourself to play a little bit too. So again, we're talking about the benefits, right? Even though it's about the shadow side, like I said, we are humans, but there is always two sides to a coin. We live in a dual planet. You're going to have the consequence with the choice. So that being said, within that experience, within that choice, like I was talking about, it'll give you the opportunity to play different roles. But we have to use it for its benefit as opposed to getting sucked into it. So allow yourself to play if you do find yourself there, but recognize at some point what needs to be healed, or who you actually truly are for that matter. Because this is going to allow you to discover more of who you are too. Okay, let's see what the purpose is. Syrians A. Artistic, integrity, and honesty. Yep. So even more so, they're bringing you to more of the lesson of why you would be in the shadow aspects or using it in this type of way. It's for you to gain more color into your life, into your personality. Like we were talking about in this Judge energy, it was very rigid, you know. This is bringing in this artistic flair, the integrity of who you are, the just in oneself, the honesty with oneself, within discovery of who you are, playing all of these different roles, creating the person that you actually want to be in this flower of life, this awe and dreams. Maybe allowing yourself to play a little bit more with the wild side and understanding the purpose of needing to withdraw so you can come into your full self. Then we have reptilians, predator, survival, tyrannical. And look how beautifully this places here on the shadow side, right, of the mask, of what this can do, which is what we talked about, is that predator, survival, tyrannical. We talked about that authoritarianism, you know, like playing in one mask for so long, of being in power for so long, of my rule is the rule. You know, not to say that this is, again, not all of your character, but there are certain areas of you that this archetype may pop up. And Spirit is asking you to stay in this lighter side for if you do and when you do, because this is all human. I'm telling you, you will eventually find yourself at some variation of this energy. If you haven't already, mind you. Of you needing to understand that side of you for you to appreciate the other. And then you get to choose. In all fairness, you get to choose. And that's the honesty with the self. Beautiful. Let's get some context. I'm gonna lay them out, then I will show you them. Okay. One of Forces. The Akashic Field in reverse. Five of Scrolls in reverse. Diversity. The Queen of Forces. And Caught in the Ruins in reverse. Spirit is saying what needs to be Spirit is saying what needs to be integrated is your intuitive awareness of self and of how you receive your information, your wisdom, your knowledge, and what makes it sound for you. You have, when you go into this shadow aspect or into this particular dark night of the soul, you would have already understood now what this was about, the diversity of what you needed to integrate, how you needed to be more open, where you were rigid in your life. That brings you into your own power, of that alchemy, of that of the Temperance card in the traditional tarot. You know, of the masculine and feminine energy, of the forces of nature within you, within source. Again, back to these rainbow colors, shadow and light, shadow and light, shadow and light. It's finding that balance within for you to be able to be the best judge of character with self, with others. That no longer will put people in ruins that don't need to be there, meaning emotionally being there. Again, if you're an actual judge, they're giving me like wrongfully accused. How many people are actually in jail that are wrongfully accused or in jail for some fucking cockamamie shit? Sorry for my language. This is our judicial system, you know? A lot of things get moved through in the cracks or forgotten about. And if this is just being the judge in your own life, same thing applies. Who have you condemned in such a way because their beliefs were so whatever the case is? And who has done the same to you? What have you learned now being within this energy of being on the other side, so to speak? And now coming back to this neutrality of being able to choose who you are. No longer being dictated by a specific doctrine, dogma. This is really great though. Okay, let's get some more context. We have June. Beautiful over the forces in Akashic field. So summer months are really significant for you, my life path 2. So again, can be a name, can be the season, can be something that's happening, can be something that's already happened. You take that as that resonates. Valley, deep personal strength and peace that assure success. Yep. Again, deep personal strength and peace, and that valley of traveling is what I'm getting, you know, traveling outside of your norm that allows you to find that diversity, that allows you to be in that diversity, to understand the diversity, to be able to bring it into peace, which is your natural nature, which is what we're talking about, mastering your life path. Fire, strong emotion, passionate love or hate. And this is here, again, about the both yin and the yang, the balancing of the light and the dark, using that for benevolent or malevolent energies, which is you. Where do you want to sit? That neutrality is what I'm feeling. Grapes, time to go out and have fun. Yeah, speaking about caught in the ruins, right? Like setting people free. It's like there's just a beautiful progression of you really integrating this lesson of the mask. You know, and again, like I kept saying for you guys too, or I felt like I was emphasizing it for you guys, is that you will, or if you have not already been through that dark night of the soul, or that recognition of self, of really seeing oneself truthfully, flaws and all, and being strong enough and courageous enough to confront yourself to be better. You can be a better you. You can be a better you than anyone else. That's it. You know? Amazing. Something you need to embrace. Interesting. The creator in reverse. You know what I'm getting? It's like knowing where source and you come together. That you are a co-creator as you create. That you don't have to do it all on your own. It's not just your way. That's so interesting. And what you need to release is release. How funny is that? You know, it's releasing that control or the power and you're knowing all, or whatever the case is. If I'm not using the right words, you understand the energy that I'm getting at. It's like sometimes just feeling like you know the best way forward isn't always the best way forward. Straight and simple. And sometimes universe and life has to intervene so that you can find the way to the best way forward. And that sometimes feels like stumbling. Okay, beautiful. Last card, something for you to think about. Again, we'll probably connect to the release card. Madonna. Everyone is entitled to your opinion. Yep, exactly. Releasing that. Pleasure without permission can be the greatest pleasure of all. That is fair. And this is where I think it's talking about releasing some of your rigidity from your past, or your constrictive thoughts, constrictive ways of being. Allowing yourself to let loose. You are and always will be your own work in progress. That's exactly right. Get off the treadmill. Life is a journey. Yeah, Spirit is really supporting you every step of the way, and it feels like really balanced. It's like the best way I can say it is like a slow trot forward. It feels like this is what it would feel like, one step forward, one step back, but it's still moving forward. That's, I don't know why I'm getting that analogy, but that's what they're showing me. That's what the energy feels like. It's very steady though. It's a steady progress within whatever it is that you are integrating as you continue to master your life path number 2. My beautiful collective of Life Path 2s, I hope this was helpful and interesting. Please let me know. Your feedback would be much appreciated. I'm sending you a ton of love, and I hope I get the chance to read for you again. Till next time, ciao. Welcome, my Life Path number 3. Gonna put your number over here. So we're gonna lay out your cards. They're the exact same spread on both sides. Well, not lay them out, but put them together. I mean, put them aside. So this side is going to be how to use your strengths of being a life path number 3 to the best benefit, meaning how do I master being a life path number 3? And this side over here is going to be when and if we fall into the shadow side or the manipulation side of our strengths, why it is purposeful that we step into that archetype, and or the consequences based on that choice or living in that archetype. Either way, it's the lesson needing to be learned. So I'm going to look at my notes to give you a little bit of context about what a life path number 3 entails or embodies. The life path number 3 possesses a great talent for creativity and self-expression. Many writers, poets, actors, musicians have the life path of number 3. They're witty, possess a gift for the gab, and savor in the limelight. You may have well felt drawn to becoming an artist while very young. Your artistic abilities can only be developed, though, through discipline and commitment to the true development of your talent. You tend to be the life of the party. You can easily squander your talents, however, by becoming a social butterfly. You're optimistic and you possess the resilience to overcome many setbacks. You're socially active, popular, and inspire people with your happy-go-lucky attitude. You can be generous to a fault, may have difficulty handling money. You might be disorganized and not particularly serious about some of your responsibilities. When you are hurt, you withdraw into a cloud of silence, eventually emerging from your reticence with jokes and laughter that cover up your true feelings. You can become moody and cynical when you are depressed and succumb to sarcastic remarks, which can be painful to some around you. When your talents are used positively, your self-expression can be a great inspirational force in the world, uplifting others and bringing much happiness and success to yourself and others. So my life path number 3s, you guys are my creative pile, expressive pile, maybe needing a little bit more discipline in certain areas and being more communicative when it comes to your emotions. Let's see how the strengths will play out for your life path. Okay, my life path number 3. Let's see how to use your strengths to the best of your ability to master it. We have the shaman. Please forgive any construction you may hear. I'm hearing to use your creative abilities to spark a new wave of thinking for a different generation. A new way of creating. It's using all of these creative talents that you have, and they're showing me like spreading that creative seed, so to speak, that catches on in small like pollen, it just catches on to these flowers and begins to formulate a new wave of thinking is what I'm really getting. A more open perspective, a more creative approach. Shaman talks about the wisdom seekers, the ones that are able to commune with the source energy and facilitate your journey towards coming back to your own soul. And also the shaman speaks of knowing how to heal oneself or going through certain experiences and knowing how to share the lesson, therefore again not repeating negative cycles. And again, that's probably what I was getting when it comes to the pollination of the idea. Having that knack to tap into the other world, being able to self-actualize and self-analyze, therefore being a better person to help. It's about using those talents and those expressive gifts and then mastering them, like we said, to be able to share them. It is a master of who bridges the everyday and the sacred. As I was saying. The shaman also reminds us that we have to be vigilant studying the darkness. So the parts of us that need some more discipline, if you are truly embodying that life path number 3 of when you are hurt, how that translates as in a cover up for in humor or laughter instead of addressing your true feelings. That the way to use the strength is to master this, is to always be able to, again, self-evaluate, so that one can really truly be aware of oneself, where triggers lay, no projections, no extra hurt feelings or over expectations. You know, it truly is about mastering this creative force that is within you, that's then therefore able to share. Okay, let's see what the purpose is. Anunnaki, yep, controlling drama, conflict of interest. This is definitely about bringing in, again, a different perspective, conflict of interest. It's how do I merge the earthly with the sacred? How do I find the balance within my emotional expression and my comedic diversions? You know, there's something along those lines of trying to let go of the control of your emotions, in a sense, for you to be able to truly master. That is the purpose of having this gift of the shaman. You have this ability to be that type of master if you release the controlling drama, if you release the conflict of your own interests of self, because your goal is to master, right? And if you're going to be conflicting with yourself because you are afraid or feel unequipped to be able to be that vulnerable, Spirit is telling you otherwise. Yeah, Syrians B, responsibilities, lessons, and growing up. That's right. You're learning how to, again, grow up, mature from that old way of being, of running away, so to speak, from your true emotions, of the responsibilities, of the organization, of lessons, trying to still be the creative free spirit you are and still be pragmatic and practical so your everyday responsibilities are taken care of. Again, blending the earthly with the sacred. That's the goal. That's what needs to be mastered, how to use this strength. Okay, let's see what the tarot has to add. We have the 5 of Roses, the Garden in reverse. Three of Forces, the Bird's Nest. Six of Forces, the Waterfall in reverse. And Queen of Scrolls. I am getting a feeling of they don't want you to misunderstand that there isn't purpose within how you chose to go about using the 3 life path energy at all. It feels like a deliberate choice that was made to not follow a certain pattern or way of upbringing. You know, that to sort of create your own type of community, family, support system, tribe, energy group, love. And it feels like a want for a real disconnect from the way that things may have been done, either spiritually, religiously, home upbringing, tradition, doesn't matter. There's something that you wanted to break that pattern of. And I feel like you did. Or you are. This is a reminder, though, that you still need to find that to master the responsibilities and the maturing of this particular choice, which is that Queen of Scrolls. You know, clear, understanding, concise, somewhat calculated, definite. You know, it's almost like, for example, they give me like writing out it in pen as opposed to pencil. It's sort of more long-lasting, in a sense. Your own particular set of rule books now that your self-evaluation has been redone, you know? That's the energy that I'm getting. Because this garden in the Five of Roses in reverse, of sort of letting go of sort of emotional ties or emotional connections or weight of certain things, when this is like the bird's nest of leaving the home, of, you know, the structure of things, of the feeding of information and of knowledge and of emotion, you know? And then the Six of Water, again, talk in the reverse, this waterfall of replenishing your own, of not taking again from this home. There's something really connected about the home for you, specifically in whatever way that translates in your life. There was a want to break a pattern, to create your own path, and you have done so. And you are doing so, and that has been a deeper calling from your life path. But Spirit, the main thing is to use this for your benefit, for the most amount of mastery in this life path. Incarnation number 3 is to master the earthly and merge the earthly with the sacred. Continue to releasing that drama and conflict still, maybe even in the conflict of you feeling the need to go, and maybe there's still some resentment about the way things were done or operated in your past in some way. But it feels like you have now come to at least some sort of consensus within yourself as to what works for you, is the bottom line. And Spirits now then honor that responsibility and lessons. Use this to grow up and mature, to reorganize, to organize, to take care of your everyday responsibilities, as they said. Okay, let's see what the tea leaf has to add. Over the garden, fair woman, dealings or relationship with a woman with blonde, gray, or white hair. Again, feeling family-ish, you know, there's whoever this fair-haired woman can be in your life. Again, motherly figure is what I'm getting mostly, but it can be anybody who played that role in your life or you felt that way about. Over the Three of Forces, wedge, someone's trying to come between you and a friend or something you want. See? This is exactly it. There was something that you wanted to get out of. There was a conflict. Again, this wedge was this way of being, how you thought, information, processing. Under the water, over the water, I should say, flag. Do not be tempted to lower your standards. Yeah. Like you're like, no, I need to get out of this. This is exactly supporting the energy I'm feeling. This, you may have felt or perceived that this particular woman, whoever she is in your life, or whoever this energy is in your life, was the wedge between what you wanted, meaning the way you wanted to live, how you saw the world, how you wanted to go about creating in this 3D reality that we live in, you know. And there was like this heavy sort of like weight on, again, ancestry, lineage, family, tradition. There's a heavy weight on it, and you were like, nope, I need to do this. I'm not going to be tempted back or guilted back into this way I have been my whole life when I need to follow my calling. And you did so, which is leading you now into the mastery, that Queen of Swords scrolls. You know, the thought, the clarity, the intelligence. Beautiful. Great worry over nothing. Yeah. It's like this is what you felt. It's like you guys worried over nothing for nothing, because I'm going to get to where we all need to get to, which is the sacred, right? That's where we're all moving to. How my path is to get there may not look like yours, and it felt like you had been stuck for a while, and that was the purpose of allowing yourself to be this ultimate free spirit. So why Spirit said there's nothing wrong with the process in what you've done. It's just a matter of now, this is the next leg of the responsibilities, the organization, and the maturing. So that's the lesson to be integrated, of knowing that you made the right choice for yourself, and that you've gone about it in the way that Spirit and you decided would be the most impactful for this life path mastery. Okay, something you should embrace. The release. Beautiful. The release of the old, the release of The not wanting to disappoint is what they said. The release of needing to feel that you needed to prove something. The release of the conflict of interest. And they said a release of some of the youth. It doesn't mean all of it needs to go, but some of it needs to be reframed. So embrace that. Embrace this transformation. Something that needs to be released. Movement. Maybe this is where we're talking about that free spirit energy. Maybe now there is a need for you to be still with the responsibility now. Now that you've clarified what it is that works for you, metaphorically speaking, of course, or literally speaking, to be fair, it's now, again, this plan, this writing it out in pen, this like sort of solidifying it for yourself. That's sort of what needs to be released. Is either moving too quickly or moving through the transformation too fast or trying to escape the emotions of it, you know? So being still, you need to embrace this release of being still. You know, this like I said, that social butterfly, that free, as they said, free spirit. The movement needs to be anchored right now. Anchored in you, and that movement is now only more spiritual in nature as opposed to physical or mental. Okay. Things to be reminded of, and this will probably play into this also. So lighten up the energy. Joni Mitchell, learn to write in your own blood. See, this is exactly the feeling I was getting about needing to follow your own path, about following your particular destiny of what calls to you, this free wild spirit. That's what this was about. That was what was pulling you, calling you. Some things need confessing, others are better left unsaid. And this is again about this movement of being still with how do you communicate your emotions. Again, fair enough. Some things may need to be left unsaid, but there are certain things I don't think that you've expressed honestly and truthfully. Therefore, it comes out in that comedic laughter, joking it off, that kind of energy. So please allow yourself to confess the things that need to be released from you before any true movement physically is made. Allow this spiritual release. And never lose sight of the miraculous, right? And that's the earthly and the sacred of your own particular journey of how you've chosen to move forward. That's amazing. All right, let us see how and when you go into the shadow aspects, what will that create? And what's the purpose and the lesson behind it? All right, gonna lay out your cards. Well, we're gonna go one at a time anyway. Yeah, let's go one at a time. So, we have the fault line. So if and when you go into the shadow attributes of your strengths, it does become faulty. It becomes a crack in the surface, in your ground. It becomes the weak link in a sense, and creates more static and interference and problematic scenarios for you. It feels like if you were to stay too rigid, or were you to follow a certain particular way of being, it would feel like it would break you in a sense. It's like it would be so opposite from what your true calling is that it would leave you a shadow of yourself, is what I'm hearing. Also, it's saying that if you choose not to address how we talked about this emotional release, the really addressing your emotional expression, your responsibilities to money, your everyday thing, your everyday responsibilities, your life, etc. That stuff, if we just pretend that it doesn't exist, or it doesn't have as much weight, it's much better to prepare yourself for change than to walk along a faulty line, naturally, right? There is no easy fix for the situation. It will require a fundamental shift that alters your current dynamics from the ground up, right? And that's what the purpose is. That would be the reason why you would go into that shadow aspect, is to break you, quite literally, for you to shift. That's it. That's what needs to happen. That's what would need to happen, if you choose to play in that energy. Just know, or if that is happening, that's what's occurring. You're in the shadow aspects of your strengths. A lot of delusion, precarious, pretending. So that would be what would be going on. Let's see the purpose of that energy. We have sentience, resilient, resilient, bold, and sassy. I'm going to flip the other one first before I say anything. Interesting. And then the Arcturians, feeling safe, wisdom keepers, and concern. I feel that the purpose that you would go into this particular shadow aspect of your strength as the fault line is to allow you to find, see, witness, experience your own personal resilience within the faultiness. About being bold enough to be able to speak up and feel safe within what you know, what concerns you, what you care about, how you think. And to have a sassy approach to it, meaning that conviction within oneself. A part of your own natural wisdom. That would be the purpose of you getting that, to create this resilience, boldness, and sassiness within you. To feel safe within what you treasure, how you feel, how you love, what concerns you, and the information on how you've gotten there. And I think you will really truly learn the lesson. I feel like you're not one of those people that needs to have multiple F-ups, I feel like if you get one fairly big one, you've done with the habit, I feel like that's why Spirit brings in bigger interruptions for you, because it's like that's what gets you shifted and moving in the right direction, being able to release so that the movement is correct for you, soul-based, Beautiful. Let's see what the tarot has to add. The lessons needing to be learned. I think the whole deck is reversed. Give me a sec. 3 of Scrolls, setting the course. Eight of Forces, the lightning bolt. Two of Scrolls, 2 worlds. And the 7 of Keys, the ascent. So the lesson needing to be learned within this archetype of the shadow, life path number 3, is learning to set the course, like we said, this resilience and boldness within oneself, looking at where one is going, where one has came from, understanding the terrain now, being able to move forward again with that light speed, again, an explosive sort of divine intervention, again, that fault line. They both kind of look like lightning bolts in their own right, with that energy and force of, again, being able to be within 2 worlds, back to that shaman, knowing how to go back into the shadow, being always ready to merge back in with oneself, but learning how to be in 2 worlds also, earthly and the sacred, in this 3D. It is mending and blending the 2 into this particular reality for the ascension to happen. But we cannot necessarily get to the full ascent of ourself without this interruption and understanding the involvement from Spirit, and understanding your involvement of why you're in this shadow. You will not, in the sense, come out of that particular energy without this lesson being integrated, without it being learned. It's a must, Spirit is saying. So you set the course on what needs to be done. Deciding, where do you want to be? Have you discovered and looked deep within yourself to know, where are my shadow aspects? What am I relying on? Who am I relying on? What have I let myself just ignore? What am I pushing aside? What is the fault line within my own self, my character, my emotions? Then the ascent will happen. You will merge out of this shadow aspect and the lesson will be integrated. Let's get some more context. For the Three of Scrolls, setting your course, we have the dagger, fear, worries, tense situations. Yeah, it's almost like afraid, not afraid. There is fear and hesitation. Yes, there is fear and hesitation. I'm really feeling like it's about expressing in some way, of really truly being authentically you. Holy cow, you got nest twice. Definitely family. An emotional, secure, loving family is important to you. Yeah, I really do. It keeps coming back, right? It's like fear and worry of, yeah, it's like it's bringing me back to if you didn't allow yourself to be that free spirit and go, it's like you would not be honoring yourself. Like, that's the point. Like, you wouldn't be honoring yourself. So when they say that you go into this energy, the purpose of it being is for you to release the fear and worries of the intensity of the family hold on you, of you not feeling safe or secure possibly within what you truly felt and how you wanted to express yourself or live your life. Being in two worlds, having to be this way at home and this way is how you really are. I can relate to that. It's finding a way to merge both. Horse, yeah. But Spirit's saying it's a shorter journey than you think. These two worlds are closer together than you think. And you are always at home with Spirit. There is nothing to fear. And only this particular fault line is the journey. It's a short journey for you to discover how to ascend, how to reach past your own limiting beliefs, to release. Yeah, temporary situation. Yeah, the delay in the ascent is only temporary. Again, this is when you're in the shadow aspects, mind you, yes? So it's temporary, even still in the shadow, but again, the recognition, the realization of what needs to be released, where your shadow aspects lie, where you don't feel safe, and in what area of your life you don't feel safe enough to communicate, period. We want you to look at that. Spirit's asking you something to release in this energy. To embrace. To embrace is the withdrawal. Embrace the withdrawal. Again, it's the release again. What needs to be embraced is the withdrawal of that energy, the withdrawal of the needing to prove in some way. This is just for you. Evolution is for you. Beautiful. And something to release. The void. They're bringing me back to when you go silent and you sort of recluse is the word they're giving me. You know, it's to release going back too far into the void and disconnecting too much. Not necessarily with family, but with Source, with Spirit. It is your anchor, you know. Source and Spirit is your anchor. And that is how you want to live. It's just a matter, again, to learn to write in your own blood. You know? They're wanting me to flip this up and put it in the reverse, so they keep saying that to me. They're like, there's something that you don't need to fully come out, like, because what they want you to release is the void in reverse. So there's something about this void being a necessary part of the stillness. You know, so release the need to manipulate the void or to do anything within the void. Again, it's like to be still. It's to take in the energy, is to absorb the emotion, is to feel it, to experience it, to understand it, to transmute it. Something to keep in mind. Bruce Springsteen. There will always be magic, even on the darkest nights. Perfectly fitting. Absolutely. May your mistakes, like your sins, be your own. Exactly. You understanding what they are, not being a product of somebody else's way of thinking, being, I don't know, upbringing, teaching, etc. Follow the river, but keep your eyes on the sea. That's it, looking for the bigger picture. You know, that is why the pause is necessary, why going with the flow of what's happening when and if you hit this shadow aspect of your energy, of your life path number 3. So embracing this withdrawal into the fault line, meaning allow yourself to see yourself in that shadow aspect. Allow yourself to take on the responsibility of yourself in the areas where you know or you think you can make better, be more fulfilling, more satisfying, more involved. This is about family for you in a sense, in any shape of the word. It can be your immediate blood family, but it's also about creating a tribe and family that is more suited for your energetic output. And it's also about tempering within to get to this mastery of your life path number 3. Okay, my beautiful life path number 3s. I hope this was insightful for the first part of this numerology read. And of the life path number 3s, please let me know, give me your feedback. I hope I get a chance to read for you again. And hopefully I'll get to see you on part 2 of the series. Until next time, keep watering your lives. Ciao. Welcome, my life path number 4. We're going to leave your number up here. We have 2 sides. One being, the left side over here being when you use and how to use your strengths of a life path number 4. The purpose of it, lessons needing to be learned, integrated, etc. And the same thing on this side, same spread I should say on this side. But when and if, as humans, as we all do, we all falter sometimes. And what is the purpose or lesson behind you falling into the shadow aspects of your strengths of your life path number 4? Well, not necessarily the strengths, but the falling into the pitfalls of the 4. So we're going to see what the purpose is and why you need to go through that particular experience and what to understand about it. And then we'll see where the advice leads us. Okay. Before we lay out the spread, I'm going to read you some of my notes that I wrote down for life path number 4. The life path number 4 is practical and down to earth with strong ideas about right and wrong. You are orderly and organized, systematic and controlled. You have a decisive and methodical manner. You have a step-by-step rational approach to solving problems. Once committed, you don't give up easily. You're not one for get-rich-quick schemes. You seek to establish a solid foundation, precise, tenacious, and persevering. You have great potential for success, but only after putting out effort and by overcoming the limitations you often encounter. Justice and honesty are sacred to you. You're reliable and dependable. Though you're not an idealist, you're willing to work for a better world in a realistic way. However, you can be rigid in your ideas and sometimes too quick to judge your fellow man. You are loyal to those you love and work well with others. You perform better when your responsibilities are not overlapping with those of others. You have great potential for success in areas such as banking, organization, agriculture, science, legal fields, etc. But be careful not to be too bossy and rude. You possess a rare discipline and perseverance, and not everyone can keep up with you. You handle money carefully. Your love of work often leads you into a career early in life, but it can become easy for you to get stuck and rigid in convention. You can be also overly cautious when change is necessary, which can cause you to miss opportunities that present themselves. Cultivate more flexibility in your character. Well suited for marriage, going to be a loving, responsible parent. However, if anything violates your profound sense of order, such as a separation or divorce, it can be a shattering experience. So be mindful that you don't seek out your own definition of justice in those matters. You are courageous and a true survivor. You are a builder and the foundation of any enterprise. Your hard work and your traditional values pays off to provide you with the rewards you seek and deserve. So choose to use those energies wisely. All right, my life path number 4. Let's get into the strengths, and we will look at the shadow side afterwards. Let's lay out your cards. Okay, let's see how to best use your strengths for life path number 4, the main energy. The Starborn, number 3. Beautiful. I'm getting an interesting feeling where Spirit is saying the best way to master your life path number 4 is the ability, to go in and rebuild. Because you have such a solid, strong foundation within, again, not a lot of people can keep up with. So the way to master this is of probably having a lot of conflicting things or in your life that but slowed you down from getting to where you wanted to go, or shocking events that sort of disrupted your version of stability, right? That control. So they're making me really get to this cracking of the egg and all of this color and bursts of energy emerging, and them referencing as a life path number 4 that, if something violates your sense of order, that it can be very difficult for you to handle, and then you start to seek your own type of justice. And this is where the strength is to mastering number 4. It's to be able to go into those places of sort of quote unquote like destruction, and you being able to rebuild solid, beautiful, bright, strong, gifted, beautiful. Yeah, it's like the card is the divine child, the destined. There's something destined about why I feel like if you are brought to many situations that are very disruptive, or you seem to work with places where, again, legal makes sense, about fixing things. You are that fixer, in a sense, and you do it well. But I think there's spirits wanting you to master not feeling out of control in those moments sometimes. Yeah, there's a sense of purpose and destiny when it comes to the way you work, how you work, what you involve yourself with, your contributions to it. Spirit is also asking you to go back to when you were a kid or when you were younger. What did you desire? What did you want to be? If you're not allowing yourself to fulfill that for life path archetype, maybe there's something in there for you to look into. That's awesome. Okay, let's see the purpose. The grays, tall grays, utilitarian, organized, intimidating. This is what I'm saying. I feel like this they just showed me stubborn in the Starborn. As you guys know, I have a lot of word slips, like certain things just morph. Yes, it probably could be some form of dyslexia, but I don't take it that way. No, it doesn't even matter even if it was. Point being is, when we were talking about the structure and needing to control things as the life path number 4, or maybe possibly getting too caught up in your way of doing something specifically, this is what this is talking about, going back into those places that need to be rebuilt. You have a structure and an organized way of being able to do things. Not everybody is going to be able to function this way, but there's something about breaking that structure down to master this number 4. I wonder what this card says. Yeah, crop circles, messages, curiosity, and signs. Yeah, about finding a new path, a new design, a new way forward. Again, regardless of how we were either raised, brought up, formal structures, societies and communities, religions, cultures, doesn't matter. There's something about the rigidity, the control, the domineering aspect of your discipline that can be altered for a better outcome, for more people to understand or embody that way of organizing oneself, you know, being accountable, which are all skills that everybody I definitely think needs. And we all sometimes need that hard teacher, but there is still a need for a reflection on how to soften this part of the life path number 4. That's talking about how to master it, right? That's what these strengths are. So you have this beautiful ability to do all of this, to organize, to sort of intimidate into whatever, to be fair. And that can come out in the form of a negative manipulation, possibly over-controlling. But you are curious. You look for the signs, you listen for the messages, which is that duality within you, which is why you're here on this earth, to merge the two for a better way forward, to break through the stubborn to the star-born. I love that, Spirit. And that egg is stubborn, right? It keeps you protected, and you have to break through it for you to gain that strength, for you to be able to withstand your first breaths in wherever you wake up. Beautiful. Okay, let's see what the lessons to integrate are. Fated meeting. Interesting that you have a destined and fated meeting. The Queen of Keys in reverse. Four Forces, spring, autumn. One of Roses, commitment. Well, like they said, you're well suited for marriage, right? There is, again, maybe there's somebody on your path that will help you unlock some of this stubbornness or utilitarianism within yourself, or the way you go about certain things. I feel more specifically when it comes to work or home life, you know, but there is a feeling of disappointment is what I'm getting. It's like they're bringing me back to that same phrase. If there's something that violates your sense of order, there is this disruption that changes everything. And this is, I feel, part of the catalyst that leads you to this fated meeting in this particular incarnation of a life path number 4. You know, like, it's like something didn't work before, or the way things weren't working, so you're coming back to do it again. There's a new opportunity for you to see things and not wait for things to change, but witness them and commit to the changes at hand within yourself, within what this person or thing might bring in for you. So the lesson to integrate is how to reform your work and your home, your love of work and your love in the home, your love of partner and love of whatever else that creates. This commitment to the journey of you, of the bond, of the union, of the curiosity. That's beautiful. Oh. Okay, let's get some more meat. Money path. A path with money is waiting for you to find it. That's the fated meeting. And I'm not necessarily, it can be, you know, a wealthy conglomerate, you know, of some kind, or collaboration. I'm not really getting that. It's definitely probably just a part of all the abundance that comes in with this fated meeting. But it feels like something that's like, it's like a treasure. It's like almost like you thought you may not get it again or find it or something like that. But that's beautiful. That's what I'm getting first off anyways. Over the Queen of Keys. Hills, obstacle to overcome. Gonna lay out the rest. Over the Four Forces. Dog, close up. Pleasure with a close friend. Beautiful. And overcommitment, carriage, a journey either physical or mental. That's it. This is what you go through. It's like this gift, this treasure that comes to you. And again, looking back on the obstacles about oneself, if this is not happening again, or maybe thinking that this is too good to be true, sabotaging the opportunity to be reborn in any sense of the word. I feel like this is, again, breaking down that structure of what you thought was solid or a foundation and adding to it now, like rubbling it out, fixing the soil. I'm feeling it. I can see it, and keeping the old knowledge that worked and that is tried and true, and now removing the rest and implementing new ones with the old. It's like this. It's really lovely. I'm feeling that in the hills too. And that change of the energy of stability, again, reinforced by, I feel like this close friend is a fated meeting, could be the lover, doesn't matter. It feels like it blossoms from something, is my point. And when I pulled out this card, there's an old, I think his name was Mace, Horse and Carriage. I can't remember the song, da 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 da. I can't remember, but it's an old hip-hop track. I think it was probably in the 90s. Yeah, it's called Horse and Carriage, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, that's the song that came into my head. And there is this whole thing, it's going to be about the journey to the self, of centering, learning, amalgamating, loving, losing the control and gaining it back with a better sense of freedom, less rigidity. Amazing. Something to embrace. Perfectly fitting. The paradox. Exactly the paradox of what it is, needing that structure and strength, but needing to release it and let go of it also, for you to be able to find that right balance, that right design, the destined path, the treasure, the journey. It's beautiful. What to release? The void in reverse. Again, releasing the need to control. Releasing that possible fear of going into the void of the unknown, of allowing yourself to not necessarily know what's next in certain areas, and allow yourself to trust. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, what to keep in mind. This is probably going to add to this card. Miles Davis, play like you don't know how. That's it. Going back to that newborn, play like you don't know how, that you're just quite wide-eyed, curious, wanting to learn, wanting to experience. Progress is impossible without shock. Again, when I kept seeing this rebuilding, this coming down to the bare bones, you need that sort of foundation, or the lack of foundation, for you to be able to build your type of foundation that is better suited, more structurally sound. I'm getting the same circle design here and circle in here. It's like a beautiful new pattern being emerged from the understanding of what was and what can be. And the keynotes are those left unplayed. And that's what you're doing, which is talking about don't be afraid to go into the void, to find out what those rest of those keys are. What else can I create? Where else is this journey going to lead me to? All of these things that I was holding on so tightly to, yes, useful, but so much more to be explored. I love that. Amazing. Okay, let's see what your shadow side would add to this. Okay, let's see what energy you'll be in when and if you go into the shadow side of your life path number 4. The medallion. I'm hearing there's a prize to be won and a big lesson to be gained. Fortune through difficulty, ascension through darkness. I'm hearing entering the cave of shadows, exiting that portal. They're showing me like I don't know how else to describe what I'm seeing. It's like it almost feels like a walk-in, like you walk it back into your life. It's almost like you've been walking in shadow for a while. You enter this portal of this opportunity that allows you to fully emerge whole. That's the visual that they're giving me. Interesting. The medallion also talks about being gifted something, passed down through lineage in a sense, but it also can mean an unspoken agreement that may bind you to that type of archetype. Interesting. And it talks about holding on to something, so I'm curious if there's, that as we talked about this way of being prior, of this, I guess, type of, as they said, sort of intimidating, overly organized in a sense, holding on to, grasping onto an idea, an ideology, or way of being, or way of doing something. If you allow yourself to stay stuck in that energy, it is a call to look at what have you been holding on to, what personality aspects that aren't serving you, what objects are you holding on to, what sentiment have you weighed, and what consciousness is there within that object, thought, etc. Okay, let's see the purposes. The Ebens, mystery reading between the lines, mystery reading between the lines, intuition. Yep. Yeah, it's like reading in the shadow, reading between the lines of yourself. What have I been holding on to? It's really about reconciling with those vibrations within. I'm getting an interesting tingle at the top of my spine and my neck. Yeah, it's again, maybe that is part of what you need, why the paradox came up, for something that you need to embrace. It's that mystery of reading between the lines, is of finding out that shadow imagery that they gave me of you walking through the shadow and emerging fully complete. Again, the one of the ways to master this number, life path 4. Interesting. Reptilians, predator, survival, and tyrannical. I'm telling you, there's, again, the tall grays and the reptilians, like very difficult, draconian type of energy, so if there is something that you have, unconsciously binded yourself to when it comes to the way of you thinking, being, etc., what you generate, how you love, and bringing up the life path 4, once committed, it's not easy for you to give up, and that might be part of the detriment in this shadow energy when and if you enter this archetype. The purpose, though, for you is to emerge. That is the purpose, to go through that darkness. Again, evolution through shadow, through darkness. That intuition, allowing that to guide you instead of the tyrannical ways of the predator in that survival mode of intimidating utilitarian. So Spirit's asking you to find that justice and honesty with yourself. Be more gentle, more intuitive, more curious. But you can and will get through that dark night, that dark journey. Yeah, these obstacles are there to overcome. Okay, let's see what lessons need to be integrated. Seven of Roses, the journey. Eight of Keys, the master artisan. Four of Scrolls, the karmic trench. Excuse me. Five of Scrolls, diversity. I'm hearing the purpose of the shadow element or archetype or experience that you will go through is for this journey for you to master yourself through karmic debt, through things that are difficult, why they kept showing me from the shadow. is the diversity of yourself, of you being able to know that you're confident, that you are courageous enough to break that bond, to break that tie, to break that way of being, to break that old way of thinking, that outdated way of thinking, to diversify your mind. This journey is, the Seven of Roses is considered the emotional energies in this deck. And this is an emotional journey, again, something that you need to go in. This represents the earthly matter, similar to the Pentacles. So it's like, again, something that you've been working on, something that you need to work on to go through, and you need to fight for it and work at it through this karmic trench, which is that Four of Scrolls, which is about the mind, understanding, intelligence, again, with that Four of Springs underneath, the four forces, like that Four of Wands energy-ish. So working through the mind. What have you been programmed with? What have you agreed to? Conscious or unconscious? And that Five of Scrolls, again, Five of Swords, but this is, again, diversifying the mind, opening up to other possibilities, other modalities, other ways of thinking, another way of living. No longer underneath that need for a type of power or a type of recognition, in a sense. Again, this is if and when you go into the shadow aspect of your character or life path number 4. And as a reminder, this doesn't mean like your whole personality is like this. This could be just one specific area of your life. So that would be the purpose. If you were to head into that shadow, that's what the lesson would need it to be. That's what lesson would need to be integrated. Diversifying your mind through the karma. Learning, mastering, working at the self. Interesting, I just felt like I saw the clouds move in this. That tripped me out. Okay. Let's get some more meat to the lesson. We have the beetle, great, on the journey. Good fortune, perfect. Yes. Kangaroo. Unsettled times, need to plan ahead. Again, the artisan, right? The mastering, the working towards smoothing out the karma, so to speak. Yep, the egg, success assured with good plans and hard work. What did we just say? What did they just say? I didn't say nothing. And then apple, temptation will test you. That diversity again, coming back for that lust of power, of maybe a manipulation in a sense. There is some of that when it comes to a particular area. Maybe it's a need for control in a way that stems back from something that was not necessarily related in the way that it's translating out in your character. I hope that makes sense. Let's say, for example, in your household, you never felt heard, ever, just doesn't matter. Then you get older, you find yourself in a place of authority or in a job of authority, and then you take it so far because they have to listen to you. So it becomes tyrannical in a sense, even though it came from a place of hurt, a place of wanting to be seen. You get me? So I just want you to take it, they say, as they said, to reconcile with those vibrations within yourself. What will be tempting you? What could tempt you? What are you binded to? What have you been programmed about? It's about recognizing that and mastering that, again, to come out emerged, as they said. Beautiful. Something to embrace. Yeah. The manifest. The manifestation of your dream, of your reality, the paradox in which you can create this alternate version of you and step out again like a walk-in. That's what they meant. The alternate version of you. Oh, I see. Yeah, because there will be a time where you're walking in that shadow, as they said. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm getting it as it's coming. They're also saying embrace your actual abilities to manifest and recognize how actually strong you are. Therefore, how easily that strength and power and determination can turn into something very rigid and controlling. So there is a need for, again, that creativity, that flow to come back in, to smooth, as they did in the karmic trenches here, to smooth the terrain, for that journey. Okay. Something to release. Release. I love that. Release the release. Yeah, it's literally, they are double emphasizing it for you. They want you to release. Releasing, release, 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 release. They're even saying release on your hold on release, because you're still analytically thinking about it in some way instead of actually just doing it. It's not a thought, it's a feeling. Release. That's interesting. They just yelled at me for you. Okay, something to think while moving forward. Again, we'll probably connect. Marvin Gaye, let's get it on. Nice. Don't fool around with something you cherish. And that might be, again, the idea is the responsibility, your family, it doesn't really matter. Don't fool around with that, or don't manipulate, or don't overuse certain strengths or powers, again, if we're in the shadow side, right? There is madness in love, but also reason in madness. And this is again, maybe coming back to that analogy I gave about wanting to be heard. Because of that madness that's been created, is just something that needs to be looked at, because there is something to learn. There is a reason for the madness. You need to find that reason, find what created that particular energy within you and what's perpetuating it forward, and how it allows itself to project out of you. A selfless heart is all you need to get by. Yeah, release. Selfless, be open to the journey. Be open to the paradox that is you. Be open to diversifying who you are. Be open to being curious. Look for the signs. Knowing that you are the shaman. Remember, merging the sacred with the earthly. How you manifest. How you work. Good fortune is assured, but the plan is needed to master the self. To embrace that void. Release. Ooh, my life path number 4. That was interesting and juicy. So just knowing that when and if you hit these shadow energies, to remind yourself of what the purpose is, and don't get stuck there. It is a part of the journey. They are there supporting you, but it's a difficult one. I can feel it. It's difficult. It's about breaking down the rigidity in some way, and the stability, again, like we talked about, for better. Again, for a newer version. 8s might be really significant. Okay, my beautiful collective of life path number 4. I hope that was insightful and interesting. Please leave me your comments. I would love your insight and your feedback. That'd be great. I hope I get the chance to read for you again. I'm sending you so much love. Until next time. Ciao.